Oh, it's so dark today. I can barely see you guys. Hello. As she said, I'm Eric Mendez. This light is shining right in my eyes, so I'm just going to be doing this for a while. I am a voice actress from the United States. I primarily work in Los Angeles, but I've also worked in Texas. A lot of you who were here yesterday are probably going to hear a few of the same things I spoke about yesterday. I am, you may have heard me in, again, I don't know exactly what people have seen out here, but I'm going to go by the stuff that people came to me and were talking about yesterday when I was doing autographs. But I am Ryuko and Kill. I am Deanne in Seven Deadly Sins. I am Goat in Hunter x Hunter. A lot of stuff you see up here, actually. Yuki from Sword Art Online, Retsuko in Retsuko, and Sailor Uranus and Sailor Moon, and plenty of other things. So I was actually going to open this up for questions, in case some of you were here yesterday and maybe you thought of some things to ask me. And I had a few people yesterday who came up to me and said that they were too shy to ask questions when I was up here yesterday and we were doing questions. So I'm just going to tell you now, you don't need to be shy. I don't bite. It's dark in here, so nobody will probably see you. So if you have another, do we have another mic that we can use? Maybe not. Nobody's here. Do we have another mic? I don't see anyone here, so.
Where is everybody?
I don't know. I guess not. Maybe we don't. So I don't know if that's going to work out. But, yeah. So who's here? Oh, you do have another mic, I think. Okay. So does anybody have questions? Okay. We have a mic here if anybody does have questions.
Good morning. What are the upcoming animes you'll be working on?
Can you speak louder? I can barely hear.
Oh, sorry about that. Are there any upcoming animes that you'll be working on?
Are there any upcoming things that I've been working on? I have a bunch of things I can't talk about quite yet. I have something that'll be on, I can't say the title just yet, but there's something, I did a movie a little while ago, and it's coming out next week, so that'll be on Netflix. I'm assuming it'll be out here, I'm not quite sure what you guys got on Netflix. We finished up Retsuko, which I mentioned earlier, and that just got announced for a second season, and we haven't started working on it yet, but I'm assuming that's going to happen at some point, because that got announced for, I think, early next year, so that'll be coming up. I'm trying to think of things. I just announced that I don't know if anybody knows the series No Go Stray Dogs. Yeah, you do. Okay, yeah, I just was able to announce that I'm Louisa May Alcott. So the funny thing about that show is that it's about, like, not necessarily about book authors, but there are characters that have the book authors' names. And some of them are Japanese book authors, some of them are English book authors. And it's funny because they have superpowers and stuff like that, and their superpowers are the names of the books that they, historical authors have written. So, like, Louisa May Alcott's power is called Little Women. It's really weird. But I hear it's a really good show, so I can't wait to check that out. What else? Actually, when I get back to the US, I'm going to be recording my very last session, I think, for Hunter x Hunter, which is really sad because I've been working on that show for the past 2.5 years, and I really like playing Gon, so I'm going to be sad when I don't get to do that anymore. And he's kind of like a little bit more sparse in the last arc, so probably won't have too much to do, which is sad, but I'm gonna treasure my time with Gon forever. What else have I worked on that I can talk about? I forget. I don't know. But I think I mentioned a good chunk of things. Does anybody else have a question? I see someone getting up. hello. Make sure to speak loudly into the microphone, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Question. You just mentioned how fun you are playing game in the Texas. Out of your entire body of work, which project is your favorite and why?
What is my favorite?
Of all your projects that you've worked on, everything you've done, which is
Oh, my favorite project that I've worked on?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I've worked on so many really good ones. I think Agretzko is kind of my favorite one right now. That one kind of is, I don't know how many of you have seen it? Well, I think if you guys haven't seen it, like I would highly recommend it, and get like other people to watch it because it's very relatable even to people who haven't seen anime. It's well, if you guys know Hello Kitty, it's made by Sanrio, who is the same company that makes Hello Kitty. And so it's got that kind of like really cutesy style, but it's got really adult, like serious themes. So it's about a like mild-mannered red panda who's kind of optimistic about life and everything. And she goes and starts a new job and ends up really hating it. So her boss is like a literal male chauvinist pig, and he makes her life miserable, so she wants to quit her job, and it's just about like frustration in the workplace and all that stuff. And then so she gets so frustrated by things that she ends up going to do karaoke every night to kind of vent her frustration. And the funny thing about it is that she's like really into hardcore heavy metal. So it's really funny to hear the change in like how when I play her, she's very like soft spoken and all that. And she is actually, when she does her heavy metal voice, she's voiced by a man. So it's a man doing heavy metal. So the change between like this really cutesy character to this really hardcore heavy metal like thing is really funny because she's got like Kiss makeup on and stuff like that. So the whole series is just really, I think, relatable and funny. And I've had actually, I was at the airport last month or so, and if you don't know, I collect a lot of merchandise of the stuff that I'm in. So there's a Sanrio store in Los Angeles, and I went and they had a pop-up shop for Agretzko in particular. So I went and I bought a bunch of stuff, including this like nice leather bag that has Agretzko's face on it. And I love the bag, it's like a great bag. So I brought it with me, and I was asking a question at the desk at the airport, and I put the bag up on the table, and somebody had asked me like, oh, what's that, what's on your bag? I was like, oh, it's from this show called Agretzko, it's on Netflix and stuff like that. And I never tell anybody like that I voice characters because I like to keep kind of low key because I get really embarrassed about things. So when I'm just kind of in public, not at a convention, I don't like having attention put on me. So I try to not like even get myself into that situation. So I just told her like it was the show and didn't say I worked on it. And she said it looks familiar, but it was like the wrong thing that she thought looked familiar. But someone next to her was like, oh, it's like this show that's on Netflix and you should really check it out. So I was like, oh, that's really cool because it doesn't sound like she really knows a lot about anime. But, like I was saying, like I think this anime kind of transcends the fact that it's anime. So a lot of people that normally wouldn't be into that kind of stuff like really enjoy it. I think it's really cool just how much it blew up because we didn't know when we worked on it just how much people were going to enjoy it. So it's really cool when something you don't think is going to be that big ends up being really huge. They actually just did another pop-up shop for it in San Francisco in Northern California. So it's really cool to see that it's gotten that much attention to where people really want these types of things. And I don't think I've ever had another show that's, I've had other big shows, of course, but to that level, it's really cool, I think, to see how much it blew up within the States and like knowing that people watch it here is really awesome. So, yeah. Did you have another question? Oh, that was good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I came here all the way from America to see you guys. Does anybody want to talk to me about their favorite shows? It could be something I've worked on or not. Or somebody has a question? Hi.
Who is your favorite character?
Who's my favorite character?
In
That I've worked on? Or
in Agretzko.
in what?
Agretzko.
In Agretzko? Oh, my favorite character. Oh man, there's so many good ones. I think I really like Haida, the hyena. He's one of the co-workers of Agretzko, and he's kind of got like a crush on her, but he doesn't tell her. And the dynamic between them is really funny. There's one point where she's like really trying to get out of her job, so she thinks of like any excuse that she can. And it's a very Japanese style of show, so they have like really Japanese ways of solving problems. So her way of getting out of her job is she thinks to get married so that she can have a husband who makes all the money for her so she can just stay at home. So she actually asks Haida, her coworker, like a hypothetical question of what would it be like if we got married, and he starts freaking out because like he has a crush on her, of course, and so he's like thinking way too hard about it, gets like really flustered, and actually ends up giving her like a really sincere answer, but of course she's not happy with it. She's just like, I just want to quit my job, like I don't care. So I think he's a really fun character, and their story kind of like wraps up really nicely. It's a little bit open-ended, I think, at the ending, but I mean, maybe we'll find out more about it in season 2. So yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Hello.
Hello. I just like to ask, what inspired you to become a voice actor?
What inspired me to become a voice actor?
Yes.
Ooh, like I was kind of saying yesterday, if people were here, I just really love cartoons and video games. I really liked anime since I was, because yes, I'm a fan of anime, if you missed that yesterday too. I've been a fan of anime since before I knew what anime was. I don't know if you guys have seen Speed Racer, like way back when, like old school Speed Racer. I used to watch that with my dad all the time, the reruns when it would come on. And I think like Astro Boy and Voltron, like the original Voltron, stuff like that. So actually I haven't seen the new Voltron, I should probably do that. I hear a lot of good things about it. But yeah, so I used to watch a lot of that, and I don't think it was until, I want to say, I know the schooling system's probably different here, but I was in, I think 7th or 8th grade, so it was probably like 12 or 13 when I really figured out what anime was. Because I heard of Dragon Ball Z, of course, like who hasn't heard of Dragon Ball Z, even if you don't watch it. So I knew what that was, but I never really watched it. But I actually, I was watching other anime at the time, but to kind of make friends with somebody in school, I started watching Dragon Ball Z so that I had something to talk to her about. So that kind of kicked off, I think, more of me trying to figure out like different anime that I could watch, like Ranma 1/2, and stuff that was on Toonami at the time, like Trigun and Trigun. I don't know if Trigun. I don't think Trigun was on Toonami, but I found a way to watch that somehow, and like Outlaw Star and Son of Sailor Moon and stuff like that. So I was really into that, and then it just kind of like I kept getting more and more into it as time went by. Like I started going to conventions like this one, and met a lot of other people that were interested in things that I was interested in, and it was really cool because, you know, I think you guys kind of understand here, there was definitely a time in America where anime was a lot more niche than it is now. So like in America now, you'll see that we've got like huge conventions. Like I was just at Anime Expo in Los Angeles, which I think this year they had like 110,000 people, which is huge. It's the biggest convention in the U.S. and it's insane. Like it's too big almost. So I like smaller ones like this. But we've got. I was talking to somebody backstage about how many conventions we have here as opposed to like places like this. which she was saying you guys have about like 3 prominent ones here, with more probably trying to start up. It's kind of the same thing in America, only we have, I don't even know how many, but we probably have a few hundred. There's actually, I think, 3 going on this weekend in America right now. And there are very many weekends where that happens, and there's 3 conventions at a time. But it wasn't always like that. So there was one really big convention in my hometown that I used to go to all the time. And I think I went there for like 5 years. And I would go to voice acting panels like this one, and I would hear people talk about voiceover, and I just kept becoming more and more interested in it because I've always wanted to do acting, but I was too afraid to get on stage and like have people watch me. Like I would literally burst into tears when I was younger, and I'd go on stage and talk to people. So it's kind of cool to think about it now, and like how I'm here talking to you guys and having spotlights on me and stuff, and I'm not crying right now. Like that's pretty cool, like how much I've grown. So yeah, so I would go to these panels and just learn more about it. And I eventually did do some stage acting just because I was really interested in it, and I wasn't very good at it. But if you're into something, you're going to do whatever you can to try to like reach that dream, I feel like. So I did that and looked up stuff on the internet because there was some resources back then. Like now, there's a lot more. But yeah, so I just kept looking into it and would audition for stuff like just like fan creations online, and would do projects with other people that were also interested in it. The bug just like really bit me, and I couldn't get enough of it. Eventually, I moved out to California, which is where a lot of the stuff happens, and I started getting chances to audition for other things. And I guess the rest is history. Like here's where I am today, and it's really cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Hello?
Hello.
Hey again, Erica.
Hi.
So, Erica, at what age or how old were you when you now started getting into voice acting, like the whole industry?
What was that? I'm sorry.
At what age, how old were you when
How
you
old
now
was
started
I?
getting into
Oh
voice
gosh.
acting?
How old was I? Let's see. I don't even know. I want to say 22. It's about 22. No, wait. Somewhere around there. Because I'm like 30 now. So, professionally, yeah, I'd say somewhere around like 22 to 24. I don't remember exactly. It's kind of a blur at this point. But yeah. But I know like it's never too late or sometimes never too early, because there are some people, sometimes they need children voices, so you'll get people who are like really young doing voiceover. Like I don't know if you guys have seen, what is it, like Adventure Time or stuff like that. Like the guy who, well, he's kind of a man now, I think, but when he was younger, I don't know how old he was, but he was like really young, I think, when he started Adventure Time, and now he's growing with the character, so the character has been aging with him. And I know, like, who is it? There's a bunch of people that started like really late in their lives. Like some people have started at the age of like 30 or 40 or 50 and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you have the chops for it, I don't think there's ever really a bad time to start. Yeah.
Thanks, Erica.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. I hate being the one to ask, but my phone is dying, and I kind of want to get it. And it's okay if you don't want to, but if I asked you to synchronize, would it life fiber a synchronized thing?
Oh, you want me to do that?
Do it. Is it only if it's okay with
I
you?
can do it, yeah. As long as I'm not like yelling the entire day, like that's fine. What am I doing what?
Because I usually like to wait for someone else to do it because I hate being the one to ask.
But everyone else is too shy.
Okay,
How do
cool.
you?
Well,
Alright, I don't know if anybody else wants to record it, but so this is if you don't know, this is one of the like attack cries from Kill la Kill as my character Ryuko. So I'm gonna need to. I might be actually be able to do it without the microphone or not. I don't know. It's in the big room, but okay. Before your phone dies, mic synchronize. Coexistence.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no
Also, I'm sorry.
No problem. Again, as long as I'm not doing it a million times, like it's totally cool. If you guys do want to hear, it's nice if you have specific lines to ask of each character. But if you guys want to hear me do any voices, then you're more than welcome to ask me. I'm here for you guys. I don't always quite remember exactly what they sound like offhand, because actually when we go into record for anime, they will play us reference files so that we kind of keep on the same pitch of the character, because it's really easy to be like, I don't know, a tone higher or a tone lower or stuff like that. So not having the reference on me, things might not be like super exact. And like Ryuko, I recorded, gosh, that show's like 3 years old now, and that's not a long time in the grand scheme of things, but it's been quite a while since I've recorded for that character. But that's why it's nice if people want me to say lines, it's nice to have like lines ready for me, because that was a long time ago and I don't remember a lot of things that I said, unless it was like something that I said a lot, like hyper-synchronize, or I can't even remember at this point. But or like go and saying John Ken. No, I can't remember how we do it in English at this point now. Oh, like first comes rock and like stuff like that. Yeah, I really only remember from attack cries because we say them a lot. But yeah. Anybody have any other questions? Oh no, people keep coming ahead of you.
Have you ever been in any Gundam shows?
I can't hear you. Can you speak up?
Have you ever been in any Gundam shows?
I still can't hear you.
Have you ever been in any Gundam shows?
Have I ever been in a Gundam show? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Oh, yes, of course, I have. I have been in 2 Gundam shows now, technically. I am in Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans as, who am I? I am Biscuit's one of his twin sisters. Her name's Cracker. He has sisters named Cookie and Cracker, and his name's Biscuit. It's weird. So I play Cracker, and also another set of twins, boy twins. I play a character called Elgar. So they're like tiny characters in the show, but still in Gundam. I haven't piloted a Gundam though. I would like to be a character that pilots a Gundam. I think that'd be really cool. But we also did, I don't know if you guys have seen Gundam Seed. There was a old dub a while back that was done in Canada. They actually redubbed it pretty recently, and we finished that at the beginning of the year. And I play Flay in that one, which is apparently controversial. Like a lot of people don't really like Flay. So that was fun. But that still hasn't come out yet. I think they finally said it's coming out soon. I don't know exactly when, but it'll be cool to see that. Just kind of see the differences between how they did it in Canada and then how we did it. Because I did it in Canada like years ago. So it'll be interesting to see how it was back then, and then like to see it done in a modern way. So yeah, I've been in Gundam Seed and Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Thank you.
Thank you. I like your shoes, by the way. They're nice and yellow. Hi. Can I just speak with the mic close to your face?
If you could have chosen to work in an anime, what anime would it be, and what character would you voice actors?
If I could choose any anime to be in, what would it be and what character would I play?
Yeah.
It's always a tough question. There's so many good shows out there that I wasn't in. As kind of mentioned yesterday, it would have been cool to be in Fooly Cooly. I really liked in the new series. I really liked just the way that the character looked. Hidomi, the new girl with like the cat ear headphones. But like one of my really good friends, Andy, plays her, and I'm really excited for her. And she did. I watched the first episode, and she did a really great job. So I would never like actually want to take that job from her, but it would have been cool had it worked differently. But I think I mentioned yesterday that one of my favorite shows ever is Fruits Basket, which I really love slice of life anime. Like that's my favorite. Anything that makes me want to cry is really good. So Fruits Basket is one of my absolute favorites. And I love the dub for that, to be completely honest. That's one of the few shows, like, I'm not like a double elitist and I'm not a sub elitist. Like, I'll watch like either or, and sometimes I'm like, some things are not like how I imagine them when it comes to a dub if I watch the Japanese first. But I think Fruits Basket was one of those shows where I did watch the dub first. And I really love the dub. And I actually love it so much to where I can't watch the Japanese, which is very rare for me because usually I do really like a lot of the Japanese actors that are in stuff. But as far as Fruits Basket goes, I would have liked to play, I think Momiji, the little boy character, just because I feel like that'd be more in my wheelhouse. And Momiji's just really cute. He's the rabbit, because the show's about like the Chinese zodiac basically, and this curse that's placed on the family. And it's kind of like if you guys have seen Rama 1/2, how they like switch from being people to animals, like they do that in Fruits Basket as well. And it's got comedic elements to it. It's got romance stuff. It's got really sad emotional stuff. And I think Momiji's story in the show is one of the ones that made me cry the most. And I personally really love doing emotional stuff. So I feel like that would kind of be more of like what I want to do as far as a show like that goes. Yeah.
Alright, thank you very much.
Thank you. I do really love that show. I can't recommend it enough. It's really good. If you guys want other shows that make you cry, which I don't know about you guys, but I do really love a good cry. As far as shows that I've been in, I was in a show called Your Lie in April. It's really good. I don't know if you guys have it on your Netflix, but it's on American Netflix at least. And that show's really good. I play a character named Tsubaki who cries a lot. She's like one of those really tragic characters. She's not a main character, but she's like the best friend of the main character. Like a childhood friend, and she's got a crush on him, and he doesn't know, but she also doesn't realize it at first. So when she does start realizing it, like stuff goes down, and yeah, she just gets like really emotional about it. It's so good. I love that show so much. Even if I wasn't in that show, I would love that show. It has to do a lot about the main character. After some tragic events, he's a musician, and he kind of goes to some tragic events that makes him not want to do like what he's passionate about anymore. So he goes into like depression and stuff like that. And he meets a girl who kind of inspires that fire back in him to play the piano again. And I don't know, it's a really good show for I think anyone who kind of feels like they're a bit burnt out on things. But you're right on to like you're ready to cry because it's very sad. And there's a show also called Anahana, which is really sad. I play another character that cries at that. That's really good. And there's a show that I wasn't in called Orange, which it's very heavy subject. I believe it deals with like suicide and stuff like that. And it's so sad to the point where I still haven't watched past like episode 2 or 3 because I'm really scared of how much I'm going to cry. But I generally like shows like that. But every once in a while I'll like a good action show. Like I was actually really surprised by Kill la Kill because that normally wouldn't be the type of show that I like because on the surface level it's very fan servicey until later on when it kind of gives you a reason for why it's so fan servicey, and it starts taking itself more seriously. Because at first it's just like, whatever, we're just gonna like do all these things. I think it was Studio Trigger, the animation company's first like really big endeavor as their own studio. So they went all out with it, and it's not for everyone. Like I will not go out and tell you like, oh yeah, Kill la Kill is like the best show on the planet because people are gonna react differently to it. but I really like it. You know, and this is coming from someone again who normally wouldn't watch a show like that, but I kind of get I feel like it's the same with a lot of people who kind of feel that way about the show. Because when I started watching it, I watched it because I knew it was going to be a really big show. I could tell, and this was before I auditioned for it. But I knew the auditions were coming, so I wanted to watch it to see what I was getting into. So I started watching it, and I was like, what is this? Like, this is so weird, but I couldn't stop watching it. It's like, I don't know, for lack of better words, it's like kind of like a beautiful train wreck in a way. You just can't stop looking away from it. But so it's like that at the beginning, but it definitely redeems, like, I feel like any flaws that people may find in it. I like shows that kind of twist the genre upside down like that. So, anybody else have a question? As I go off on tangents. Oh, you have a question? Oh, over here. Okay. Sure. Yes.
Last question.
Yeah.
So, I'm curious, out of all of the characters that you have done, which one would you have deemed extremely difficult or challenging?
Ooh. I think a lot of them are very difficult in their own way. I can give a few examples because I can't think of like one specific one. Ryuko is definitely very difficult, kind of bridging off of the Kill la Kill thing I was talking about earlier, or a little while ago. When I got cast in Kill la Kill, I was terrified. It was like, again, I knew it was going to be a huge show. I had heard that they were going to be like pitching me to different conventions to promote the show, and that like in itself is like really scary. Because I'm I'm a little less so now, but I was at the time very, very introverted. So just the idea of like having to promote this huge show was very scary to me. And as far as like the recording process goes for the difficulty stuff, I'm very introverted, very quiet normally, and I didn't know I could scream like that. And there's a lot of screaming in that show. Like, if you guys have seen the show, it's like probably 80% screaming all across the board for like every character. And Ryuko is like this hot-blooded, like angry, vengeful character that's trying to find the person who killed her dad, right? So there was a lot of that, a lot of her yelling insults at me and, you know, swearing at people and doing life hypersynchronized, Kami Senkets, like getting hurt. So it's like very grueling on the voice, you know. And so I had to learn how to properly take care of myself at that point. So, you know, I would drink a lot of tea and water to help keep my voice lubricated and healthy. And I was really surprised. I don't think I lost my voice anytime during that recording process, but I definitely came close. There was a time when we were recording a specific scene that's pretty spoilery, so I won't mention it, just in case people haven't watched it, because I do think everybody should at least give it a try, if you're old enough. Not that it's like a super adult show, but people don't wear a lot of clothing in it. Let's just say that. They cover all the important bits, though. But, so there was a particular scene where usually for screaming lines, we'll do like maybe 2 retakes max, just because they don't want us to keep doing those screaming things over and over again so that we can preserve our voice for the rest of the session. Or they'll like save that stuff for the end, you know. And there's a particular scene where the director wanted it so specific, and it was like really gritty and all that. So we ended up doing that one like 15 times. And so it's like a lot of like, do it like this, it just, as you're like talking and screaming. So that like, even just doing that, like I can feel the tension on my throat just now. So imagine doing that, like the same line over and over again for 15 times and getting more and more tense as you go on within the line. And not being quite sure what the director wants, so you're like, I don't know, I'm just gonna like try whatever because I can't control my voice right now because it's like so, just the line itself is so raw and sporadic, and just trying to figure out like how to control it to get it to where the director wanted. When we finally got it, after like the 15th, 16th, whatever time, I had to sit down because I was so like burnt out on it. And I went to go grab the water bottle to, hydrate and take a break because they were like getting ready to mix it. So I had like a good 5-10 minutes, whatever, before they got it perfect. And I grabbed my water bottle, and as I'm grabbing it and bringing it to my mouth, I'm like shaking the entire time. Like that's how much that line affected me. It like put my whole body into shock. And I don't know if I was cooking or not, but I could definitely taste like iron in my throat. Like it was crazy. So Ryuko's definitely one of the harder ones as far as like vocal stress goes. I feel like there was, I was in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure for 2 episodes. And that's another show that's like primarily screaming, but I thought it was going to be okay. This 2 episodes as opposed to like a 24 episode series. So my character in that show, I played young Polnareff, and Polnareff is like one of the characters that goes on the adventure with the JoJo of that season. But he gets turned into a kid for a 2 episode arc. It's really weird. The show itself is just, as it says in the title, bizarre. It's very bizarre. So my character like ages or de-ages like twice in that 2 episode arc, and so I had to like change my voice enough to where it sounded like I was getting younger. So that was a challenge on its own. But I think I did literally almost. I don't know. I don't think I lost my voice, but I was hurting. And I thought because, I did Kill la Kill, I was like, oh no, I'm invincible, like it's fine. Like, I get scream for 2 days, it's fine. But no, it hurt. Like I was hurting after that one. And then we just did, a few months ago, we recorded the Chimera Antark in Hunter x Hunter. And yes, I recorded like that scene already, the one that people keep asking me about on Twitter. And I briefly throughout the session, I did lose my voice a little bit, but because it's like a young boy character, it didn't really matter. So I could still like do the young boy voice. I just couldn't reach the higher point of my voice, which is always a little scary if you've got like, I don't know, maybe the next day I would have been recording a high-pitched character, so I would have been really worried, about being able to do that the next day. So yeah, I briefly lost my voice during that session. Luckily it came back by the end of it, but that was intense. That whole show, like at that point, is really intense. And then as far as like not vocal stress goes, I don't know. I guess it was difficult, but it was also the most interesting way that I recorded something for Sword Art Online 2. I don't want to be too spoilery again. A lot of the really intense moments are really spoilery, I feel like. But for Sword Art Online 2, if you've seen Yuki's arc in that show, it's like a 6-episode arc. Very sad, emotional. I'll be very vague about this because I don't want to spoil anybody. Because in my opinion, that is the best part of Sword Art Online. But I may be biased. So basically Yuki is like laying in the grass at this point. Won't say why, but she's laying in the grass, very weak, and the director had this idea to record it a certain way. So usually when we record, you have the option of sitting, but I find that it's just easier to stand, so I usually stand. But the director was like, well, she's laying down, why don't you lay down? So I'm like, okay, that's, how are we gonna do that? Because usually the mic stand is like, it's a regular mic stand, which is like, I don't know, this high or whatever, and they position the mic like above you. So when you record, so the mic is like this, as opposed to like this. I don't know why, I don't understand all that stuff. But, so, obviously I wasn't laying down on the floor because it would have been weird and impossible to do that, I think, maybe. So they had me in a they brought in a reclining chair into the booth and had me recline back on this chair. So I'm like literally, recording like this so that I could get like that, because you can kind of hear it now, like I'm shaking as I lay like this because I can't, I can't hold my body up like that. My core's not strong enough, but even with having a backing there, like you can just kind of tense up and it gets a little bit weaker. So you get that weak sound. And so we recorded that entire scene reclining in a chair. And I didn't think it was gonna work, but I mean it worked. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, just the thinking about it I think was like, oh no, we can't do that, that'll be too hard, but hey, we did it. I think the scene turned out pretty well, so yeah, that was a lot of examples, but yeah, those are probably the more difficult ones I can think of. Yeah, thanks so much. Other questions? We got like 6 minutes?
No, that was the last question.
Oh, yeah. Last question? Did you want to ask? No? Oh, you're going to ask the same thing? Okay. Cool. Any last questions? No? You guys just want to stare at me for the rest of the 5 minutes? Because I'll do it. I'll have a staring contest with all of you. No, I'll lose. Do you have a question? Over there? I think you have to walk to him. He looks comfortable. Hello.
Hi. Can you please Nico me?
What was that?
Can you do the Nico me thing from Love Live?
Oh, you want me to do Nico Nico Me? Oh yeah. I can do that. Yeah. This is another character that's really easy to memorize because she's got a catchphrase, which is always helpful. But yeah, if you don't know, I play Nico in Love Live. She is the #1. With the hand movements too, you have to do the hand movements. So it's Nico Nico Me. And that one's always fun to do at comms. But I actually did a Love Live panel once and had an entire room of people do that with me, which was really funny. And people brought I don't know if you guys have seen idol concerts in Japan, but they have actual glow sticks that they use, and they change the colors of them based off the characters. So Nico's color, her character color was pink. So I had these guys bring glow sticks to my panel, and I actually played a song from Love Live, and they brought out their light sticks and were waving them around, and it was really cool. I love the Love Live fandom; it's super cool. I actually got a chance to see. I haven't watched too much of Love Live Sunshine, which is the next set of girls that they brought in. But I actually, at Anime Expo, they brought the Love Live Sunshine girls, and I saw them in concert. It was really cool. I have my own light sticks that I use. It's really fun. If you ever have a chance to go to something like that, I really suggest it. It's so much fun. Yeah. Any other last minute questions? No? You guys too shy. Oh, one more. Okay.
Hi. Playing God. What are your feelings towards, because a lot of people think that God should end up with Killua. Do you think he should be, a platonic relationship or, yeah?
What do I think about Gon and Killua? Man, shipping questions are hard because unless it's a super canon thing, which I think people would argue that Gon and Killua is, because they do have that, if you guys have seen the Hunterpedia stuff, they do have that scene where Gon, or the opposite, Killua kisses Gon on the cheek, to ship whoever they want, I feel. Honestly, I personally do I even have any